Ryu Han-Bin, a young man, finds himself fighting a beast in a deserted terrain of a word called Thelha Latna. He has no recollection of how he got there. The only thing he is conscious about is his survival. In a confrontation with a beast dog, he uses a rock thinking it would kill the beast. However, the beast again stands on its ground and continues to dominate the one-sided fight. When he is about to be pushed off the cliff, the system displays the information on the hell dog, revealing it as the lowest level monster in Thelha Latna. It possesses strength similar to an unequipped adult human male. The system also indicates that the player may level up by slaying the hell dog or the powerful monsters in general. He is confused, wondering when everything started going downhill. He even questions if he's trapped in a fantasy video game. Before we proceed further, let's have a throwback. Han-Bin used to wake up every day at noon. He had just been discharged from his mandatory military service 3 months ago and felt that he had enough reasons to lay back and relax a bit. He had believed that after he finished his military service, he would be able to fit right into the society. However, the last 3 months for him were nothing but a black haze. Nothing changed about him. Even in the 2 years he served in the military, on an ordinary day, while lazing around like usual, he suddenly gets summoned into a void. He hears the voice of more than one entity echoing across the void. While he is questioning his existence, the voices are chit-chatting about the chosen ones, implying that the few people standing before them are the chosen ones among the 7 billion humans. Abruptly, one voice calls for transmitting the guidelines to all the players, but the second voice is against that idea, remarking that the idea appears to be too artificial. He wonders what the voices are talking about, and if not God, who are they, a person? The first voice responds to the second voice, commenting that it serves enough motivation and assistance in judging their situation, since that's something already tested with the previously chosen ones. The second voice then initiates the guidelines transmission. However, the second voice claims to have made a mistake in transmitting the guidelines to Han-Bin, and they apparently don't care, because the error occurred around a single chosen one. After this, the chosen one number 398 was dimensionally transported to the world of Thelha Latna. After some time, Han-Bin is shown to be ruthlessly striking the dead hell dog. He has gained 13 experience killing a level 1 monster. Still, he is shaken to the core, remembering that he was discharged 3 months ago. He wonders what would happen to him and his parents. He is just upset that he never got to date a girl. The chosen one could have been anyone. Countless people evade military service. Why they weren't chosen? He receives an alert from the system, notifying him that he has a less than 5% chance of surviving in the Thelha Latna with his current stats. The system gives him an alternate option, which is to end his life. He is enraged at the entities who sent him there. Seeing the alternate option, he wonders if he will be sent back home after dying. He tries to stay calm and accepts the truth that they wouldn't have sent him to this world if they had planned on returning the chosen ones home. He is also aware that whether he likes it or not, it's the end if he dies. After grieving for a moment, he regains his will and fighting spirit and gets his strength boosted. The system prompts him to choose a skill class, which he sees as an obligatory choice since fighting with his fists has never been an option for him. He notices the warrior class, which allows the user to fight with various martial arts routines. But since this isn't a game, he chooses to select the long-distance combat class. He chooses to be a magician, but his selection is rejected due to the lack of capability for the chosen class. Frustrated, he then goes for magic swordsmanship and priest respectively, but his selection is rejected both times. Despite not wanting to choose warrior class, he ultimately ends up selecting it. He tries to stay optimistic and aims to find a way to fight from a distance, as he chooses a spear from the weapon selection window. However, due to some errors, the system malfunctions and selects the longsword as his beginner's weapon. Out of pure annoyance, he thinks of not acting according to what those entities want, but what he wants more is not to die. This is how his unending hellish life of leveling up began. He tries to swing the blade but isn't able to swing it because he's too weak, and also the blade is longsword. It's been 7 days since he came to Thelha Latna. Since his arrival, he has asked the guideline countless times how can he return home, but each time it has remained silent, and he doesn't know if it is because the system is bugged. In any case, he is fighting to survive. The monsters he fights are always hell dogs. If there's one thing he has learned since coming to this world, is that the hell dogs also level up. He is noticing that these monsters have become wary of him. Despite trying to stay alive, he is getting dragged by the enemies. These monsters are getting used to fighting him, just as he is getting used to fighting them. He tries to launch an unpredictable attack, but the hell dog he is fighting reads him like a book and dodges his attack. The hell dog then attempts to jump at him, but he strikes it mid-air, fully neutralizing it. He gained 22 experience as a reward, which adds up to his overall experience, 282. He killed the hell dog using the skill stab, which he got after becoming level 2. Han-Bin finds the guidelines pretty helpful, as when he browses through it, his knowledge expands and he learns more about this world, such as the benefits of Helldog's meat and blood, which contains fats and essential amino acids and contains moisture, carbohydrates, fibers and essential minerals respectively. But unlike their violent nature, their teeth and claws quickly become dull and cannot be used soon after. Ultimately, he concludes that this world is artificially created and there must be a reason why he was brought here. He remembers that there were 7 billion candidates and wonders where the other chosen ones were sent. Just as he is thinking about the other chosen ones, the guideline informs him that he can leave the current area, the Rock Mountains, once he reaches level 5 and meets up with the other chosen ones. The Rock Mountains is the start zone, where the death rate is lower, and gaining experience is quite efficient. Low-level monsters roam in the area and the monsters appearing in the safe zones are stat-matched. The guidelines command him to meet up with the other chosen ones, and once he reaches level 20, he will be able to complete the Thel-Ha-Latna map and travel to the Latna continent. All the information the system disclosed was too much for his brain to process. He recalls everything the guidelines revealed. After this, he asks the guidelines about what he has to do there, but the system fails to respond due to an error. He had already realized that the monsters also leveled up, though what he was concerned more about was if he could go back home. He knows for sure that he can't trust his guidelines and needs to leave the Rock Mountains to learn about this world. After that, he went around looking for Helldogs and also started hunting. Since the Helldogs get stronger as he does, it doesn't get easier for him to defeat them. After he gained another 22 experience, his total experience accumulated enough that he reached the required experience and leveled up. He also obtained the side slash skill. He continued to face the ever-growing Helldogs. A level 3 Helldog possesses strength similar to an unequipped novice warrior. He underwent the cycle of fighting, getting injured, killing the Helldogs, eating and sleeping, and by the 27th day, he had killed countless Helldogs and had learned 3 skills: stab, side slash, and vertical slash. His body has begun to see the effects of the stats that he has gained as well. Even the two-handed longsword, which was difficult to lift at first, could be easily swung. In this world, one can see the results of their hard work. Just after making that statement, he receives a shocking message from the guideline, revealing he has regressed to level 1. He decides to not be bothered by this message and assumes that it must be bugged, only to realize that this message is real. Surprisingly, his stats are intact. At first, he tried to look at things optimistically, reassuring himself that because he was in the safe zone, the Helldogs would also be level 1. He believed he could get more stats more easily. However, he was wrong. The Helldogs kept getting stronger despite their levels. He continued to put his life on the line with each fight. He believed it would work the next time. He was sure he would get it and kept on going. He kept killing the Helldogs that continued to grow stronger and kept checking his experience. By this time, he already has lived in a hell-like place for the past 7 years, running through levels 1 to 4 in an endless cycle. Chosen ones don't age, and due to their extraordinary healing ability, they will be healed of all their injuries in a single day. Returning to level 1 doesn't decrease his stats, but he couldn't learn a new skill since he couldn't get past level 4. The only skills he had were stab, side slash, and vertical slash. The Helldogs got stronger as his stats continued to increase. The system places the strong monsters to help the chosen one get stronger, but to him it appears that the monsters are just there to be killed, though the same can be said about him. The voices have completed the guideline transmission to the chosen ones that they had started earlier. These voices label the ongoing mission as Jaren Latna's 5th operation. One voice reveals it has gotten used to it because it's their 5th time commencing the mission already. They think that even if it is another world, players would normally take at most about a year to clear. They are expecting some useful players around this time. While inspecting, the entity suddenly comes across a broken world and discovers that Han-Bin is logged into it. Subconscious, Han-Bin thinks that he is back home and tries to sleep. But when half asleep, Han-Bin is about to select the alternate option in the guideline: end his life. He jolts awake and realizes that it has been about 10 years since he started killing Helldogs. He fell from a cliff and survived, which signals that the fall damage doesn't inflict any damage on him. Even after years of training, he's still at level 1. Or rather, he keeps regressing the moment he is about to hit level 5. Additionally, he isn't far from selecting the alternate option, putting his life to an end. He regains his composure because agonizing over this countless times won't get him anywhere. He is still wondering if he will be sent back home after he decides to take his life. Since he might die, he thinks of making his life worth it. At some point, he gives up on counting the days he has been in this world. He doesn't know how long it has been since his arrival, 5 years, or maybe 7 years. During this time, he developed a hobby and even came up with work to do. Surviving alone isn't an easy task, but this harsh environment doesn't allow him to doze off, even if it's for a moment. This is the reality. He can't change his situation and devotes himself to doing things that he can. He built a house with debris and boulders and lived every day with devotion. Simply, he no longer lives with rage. When a colossal hell dog destroyed his house that took him 3 years to build, he engaged in an intense battle with it to get revenge. These giant hell dogs are loud and don't even taste good, but by constantly hunting them, he has learned the best strategy to defeat them. Once it starts, these hell dogs begin with a huge attack, and it's impossible to dodge their breath skill since the area of attack is large, so he just braces his body and blocks it with his strength. Surprised to see its enemy unfazed, the hell dog would then rapidly cast thunderbolts, light, and fire magic. Since getting hit by these is painful, he would block them by carving up huge walls of earth and then using the final cut. However, he wasn't extremely prolific with the blade, nor did he have any other skills since his level won't increase. After using the 3 skills thousands of times, he has combined them into one skill called Cross Impact. It's not a real skill, but there isn't a monster that can withstand the impact of the hit. The entity that made an error when transmitting the guidelines to the candidates is stunned to learn that Han-Bin has been stuck inside Thel-Ha-Latna for 22 years, while the other generations are operating in different locations of Latna. That entity is stressed, because it can't come up with an excuse if its superiors find out. It also can't kill him. But after contemplating for a while, it comes up with a way to deal with him. Elsewhere, Han-Bin is munching on the hell dog. He has always felt a breeze whenever he leveled up to level 4. He desires something tasty and also human interaction. Another thing he wonders about is his lifespan. Despite everything, he is optimistic that there will be a day when he will get out. Unexpectedly, the entity starts punching the Thel-Ha-Latna world. Even though there could be some problems, the entity wants to erase his records and the world from existence. The entity is destroying the world mostly because it believes Han-Bin is level 4 and will die soon. It doesn't have any background progress records. Meanwhile, Han-Bin, spectating the entity destroying his world, receives a notification about the completion of Thel-Ha-Latna. Soon, the system commences the transport of chosen ones to the designated level. Elsewhere, a dragon appears to be bothered by the arrival of otherworldly demons. All this time, what Han-Bin saw naturally became the norm. A red sky where the sun never rises or sets, with clusters of dead tree branches on the ground, and being stranded on a rock-filled mountain of hell. He can't believe his eyes. He is in Southa Forest in the Grey Loot Kingdom, northern Latna continent. The man doesn't know what's going on, but knows that it's not home. Though it's better than those god-forsaken mountains, he finds it weird that he suddenly became level 5 when he got there, and has got the communication skill. He remembers that to come to the Latna continent, he needed to be level 20, and wonders if the system is still bugged. Moreover, he sees a new guideline window giving him one final mission: kill one of the 6 goddesses of Latna. If he succeeds, he will receive several rewards, such as eternal youth and immortality, be sent back to Earth with stats intact, and get your 3 wishes fulfilled. Another window reveals a few factors to consider when participating in this mission, and also warns him to keep his identity hidden from the people of this world. The first thing he needs to do is register at the Hunters Guild in the corporate city of Onpris. The dragon arrives, cursing him as a filthy otherworldly demon for trespassing. He tries to get into a fighting stance but realizes that his sword is way back on the other side of the river's shore. Since running back and grabbing the sword is risky, he opts to charge barehanded. When the punch lands on the dragon's body, it surprisingly soars through the air. Then a brief epilogue about the dragon is set forth. It is the dragon itself describing its experiences with otherworldly humans. Long ago, a magnificent dragon soared through the skies, serving the dragon knights of the X-Rad kingdom. That dragon mount's name was Ephor and was the great pride of the knights. However, a great ordeal came upon her. It came in the form of the kingdom's prince who whined about wanting to ride her. However, mounting a dragon was not a simple feat. And in the end, the prince accidentally fell from the dragon and died. Because of that, Ephor's poor knight was executed, and she herself escaped the kingdom through the help of the other kind knights. The lonely dragon, who now lived in the forest, didn't even have time to mourn, because the forest was where many otherworldly humans would frequently appear. However, despite receiving training, she was kind enough to never kill her opponents. It was then that countless otherworldly hunters gathered together to hunt her. She thought to herself that letting the otherworldly humans live was a bad idea. She had no choice but to hunt the otherworldly humans. She clears the misunderstanding, telling him she's not a dragon but a wyvern. Dragons have 4 legs and their wings are located on their shoulders, while wyverns have wings on their forelegs. She accepts defeat and requests he let her go. He demands that she explain how she knew he was from another world. She says that she can't tell just by looking, but their bodies disappear when they die. Besides, Latnians hardly ever enter this forest. He wonders if she thinks of him as an otherworldly person. If she can't suspect anything from his appearance, that means no one would be able to find out his identity. judging by his appearance alone. He asks her if this forest is Sathi Forest of the Greylut Kingdom. She explained that the Greylut Forest was destroyed long ago. It's now called the X-Rad Kingdom. He realizes that his guidelines haven't been updated, and is frustrated thinking about what reason could be behind it. She begs for mercy, asking him to forgive her. He believes that she could have laid low instead of attacking him, and rejects her pleas. She calls him an otherworldly demon and admits to having attacked him because of it. He rages at her. Scared, she reveals that the goddess was the one who called the otherworldly humans demons. He is a little intrigued by this information. He demands she tell him everything in detail. She reveals otherworldly humans in Latna started to appear 40 years ago. She abruptly breaks off mid-story and again demands he let her go home, as she has to rub some medications. He gets furious and threatens to hit her again. The threats enable her to continue. She explains that at first, the otherworldly humans and Latnians got along, but that period didn't last long. And otherworldly humans started killing Latnians, aiming to increase their levels. The more powerful ones banded together and created the Great Earth, a group to kill the goddess. She reveals otherworldly humans are strong because they can easily level up by killing their opponents, something that isn't alien to dragons. There was no way to fight against them when they were being led by a leader who was level 100. So before they came, the continent's 4 heroes massacred the otherworldly humans in an instant. These heroes were Barolt the Sword King, Zenovia the Archmage, Garhan the Terrible, and Halian the Transcendentalist of Life and Death. After that, the 6 goddesses blessed the continent. Earthlings are otherworldly demons that have made contracts with the wicked demon god, which is why they are quickly executed. He is triggered by her bizarre speech delivery, and remarks that he was kidnapped out of the blue and rotted on a rock mountain for dozens of years. When he finally gets out, he is told that if his true identity is revealed, the whole continent would become his enemy. This all happened before she was born, as per what she claims. He speaks out that he doesn't care whether he makes a deal with the goddess or becomes their underling, but he will kill that demon god and get back alive to Earth. He tells her that he can't let anyone know his true identity and must do something about her. She promises that she won't speak a word about him and will live as a normal wyvern, pretending not to know how to speak. Despite her pleas, he shows her no mercy. 5 days later, he leaves the Sauda forest and heads towards a huge castle wall that stretches across the horizon. It is a city in the northern part of the X-Rad Kingdom. The city is called Onpris City, which is enormous and also has a large human population. Nearby there is the Sauda forest and a dungeon in the Ifan Plains, where countless monsters continuously appear. There's also the Onpris Hunters Guild, where many hunters try to get rich by putting their lives on the line. The people who visit this guild are either hunters, or people who aim to become hunters or otherworldly beings. When he steps his foot inside the guild, he leaves the local hunters in awe. He ignores the gossip and heads straight to the business, telling the receptionist that he wants to become a hunter, shocking the audience even more. Flashback shows he didn't actually kill Efer, instead he struck a deal with her. He asked for her help, because even if his appearance isn't suspicious, the fact that he doesn't have any clothes on or equipment of this world is likely to give him away. She was hesitant to help him because she was convinced he was going to kill her anyway. He reminds her that she has been killing people up until now, and is a wanted beast, so the odds of her going outside telling people about him being an otherworldly person are not very high. Moreover, he was happy to have a decent conversation like this with another living being. Han-Bin's words had her recall the precious memories she had shared with otherworldly humans before the conflict. She decided to help him by giving him some clothes. Though they were a little too tight for him, she warned him to not take off his clothes anywhere. When asked about goddesses, she tells him that goddesses rarely meet people, not even the Latnians. To meet the goddesses, one either has to be one of the 4 heroes, or have done a great service to meet with them and receive their blessing. It would be safe to say that the only way to receive blessings is to become a hunter who hunts dungeon monsters that were created by the demon god Ormflaus. Through hand gestures, he tried to point at the guideline, and told her that the guideline also mentioned he needed to be a hunter to contact the goddess. Efer wasn't able to see the guideline, which made him realize that he was the only one who could see guidelines. He explained that guidelines are a guidance system for otherworldly humans like him. Additionally, included the fact that his guideline system is broken, leaving her confused. At the present, he recalls the wyvern explaining that a hunter has a more free lifestyle, and it isn't that suspicious for them to have a high level. This is why he needs to be extra careful, since many others like him would have gone through this same method. She taught him to not act like a foreigner. He is overwhelmed by nervousness and anxiety. He can't seem to relax his body. The receptionist fetches some details, and then registers him to the Onpris Hunters Guild. He is glad that he didn't follow the guidelines when registering as a hunter, as it suggested he should say he came from the backwoods in the west. Flashback shows that before leaving for Onpris, she told him to say he came North Campbell, because how can a person who isn't even a hunter travel across the kingdom? Assuming he is transferring from another guild to the Empress, the receptionist girl questions him. The receptionist is stunned when she learns he is just registering. She's not the only one surprised he isn't already a hunter, given his massive physique. Noticing the people becoming wary of him, he wonders if he made a mistake. When the receptionist asks him to place his hand on the measuring stone, he is thinking if he should prepare to fight. Since the local hunters haven't attacked him yet, he presumes that the hunters still aren't sure that he is an otherworlder. The receptionist informs him that depending on his abilities, they can create proper verification. According to the rules of the guild, all he needs to do is place his palm on the measuring stone. He is suspicious that the measuring stone might be the receptionist's antics. He is worried that if he gets caught, he won't be able to meet the goddesses. However, he thinks that running away is the same as revealing his secret. Though destroying this place may be easy to do, he places his hand on the measuring stone, hoping it would work out well, and surprisingly it does turn out well. The receptionist reveals that his stats are at heroic levels. Here is the plot twist. He was dreaming about having heroic level stats. In reality, the measuring stone reveals him as the level 5 swordsman, which makes the whole place burst out laughing. The receptionist apologizes for her behavior and clarifies that most people who come from the backwoods to register are otherworldly humans. If his level was higher, then they without a doubt would have mistaken him for one. The local hunters reveal that the otherworlders start at level 20 and say that they want to become a hunter even though they are already at a high rank. The receptionist asks for 300x registration fees, which is about 3 million Korean won. Luckily, he borrowed 400x from Effer and told her that he would pay it back, not knowing how much it was worth. The local hunters laugh at him seeing his hand tremble. They reveal the otherworlders have a lot of money, which makes him even more sad. The receptionist gives him his beginner hunter badge and informs him that to replace a lost identification badge, it will cost him 80x. He can return for a new one when he has leveled up. Alongside Han-Bin's rank, his name is also mentioned on the badge. He apparently has registered under the name Eric Garoon. Despite all the mockery from everyone in the guild, he stays motivated and thinks of making his name known in the hunter's circle. Because this is where he starts for real. Wanting to explore the dungeon, he states he wants it as a mission. Suddenly, a narcissistic man cuts in, giving Han-Bin a piece of advice that he better stay put if he is planning on going to be monster food with his level 5. The receptionist calls this adventurer Lauda. Through the receptionist's questions, he learns the dungeon monsters there are increasing in number and attacking nearby houses. He does not feel easy about sending useless hunters to do the job and opts to go since his level is high. Han-Bin sees Lauda as a level 27 hunter, the same level as Effer, and wonders why is he acting so conceited. He guesses the reason Lauda has a high sense of pride is because he is the highest level in the guild, but he feels like not getting himself involved with him at all. The receptionist mentions that Lauda's party has room for one more person, and since completing missions solely is practically impossible, she recommends doing miscellaneous work while learning the ins and outs of his party would be much better. He is disgusted thinking that he has to join a party with the obnoxious hunter in it. The full of himself hunter reveals that he already has recruited a newbie in his hunter's party, so he also declines the receptionist's request without a second thought. The newbie introduces himself as Atis, a level 25 mage. However, the guidelines show him she is at a higher level, a level 37 magician. He decides to ignore it, thinking that he must have his circumstances for hiding his real level. When Atis side-eyes him, he quickly averts his eyes off. Just when he is about to accept that he won't be accepted into Loud's party, the prideful hunter remarks that if it's a special request from Siguri, the receptionist, to take care of a level 5 insect, then he shall. He finds Lauda's comments slightly irritating, but he keeps his cool. The prideful magician steps over his boundaries by ridiculing him and then attempts to snatch the sword that is attached to his back, though he isn't even able to budge it. Han-Bin finally reacts by equipping his sword in his hand. As he is confronting Laude, someone is watching him. Han-Bin is effortlessly carrying the weight of Laude as he is holding on to his sword. The person who was watching Han-Bin approaches him and tells him that he will be able to take care of level 10s with his physique. Laude calls that person by the name Berkman and tells him to not butt in. The man pays no attention to his comments and continues to speak with Han-Bin, while pointing at his longsword which is wrecking the guild because of its massive size. Berkman warns him that if he continues to wreck the guild, he will have to fight everyone there. Though this is his friendly warning, fearing that he will get kicked out if he gets into the fight, he quickly clears the misunderstanding of not wanting to fight anyone. Laude is intimidated seeing him carelessly swinging his sword. He lets him know that no one will take a level 5 like him in their parties. Inside, Han-Bin admits he can't do anything because of his low level, and he also has used most of his money just to register. However, Berkman divulges leveling up with his body will be easy. He was looking for someone with a toned body like Han-Bin's. and now that he has found a perfect candidate, he invites him to his party. The man appears to be a level 25 human, who believes Han-Bin is a low level solely because he lacks experience. Otherwise, he would be a high-level hunter. Being an otherworlder, his growth rate is high, which means he won't be able to stay in the man's party for long. Onpra City was developed because of the dungeon and monsters. Business and trade revolve around these monster hunters, and the city creates products with the monster materials that the hunters bring back. There are two main areas where hunts take place in Onpros: the Ifan Plains dungeon and the entrance area of the Satha Forest. There are small villages near the forest, but since monsters rarely venture away from trees, subjugation quests are rarely given. However, there have been a great number of monsters attacking the vicinity of the forest lately. This is why many hunters have joined the subjugation quest. Soon after, the Berkman and his party are fighting Devolk, a high-level monster that habitats the Satha Forest. Devolk have slow movements, but their grips are strong enough to crush a rock, and they utilize their weight to create decisive attacks. Berkman Ropal, the strongest tank in Onpress, demonstrates incredible strength fighting Devolk. When a Devolk uses a pincer attack, he blocks its attack, which extinguishes Devolk's mobility, allowing his teammate, level 21 spearman Amber Bonnet, to strike. After saving Berkman from the Devolk, she ridicules him for being pushed back by a Devolk, remarking that he should retire. Amber panics when she notices a grave wound on his arm that came from the Devolk's attack earlier. He calms her down since this is nothing to be concerned about. He acting all cool makes her blush. As they are sharing a tender moment, his younger sister and party's healer, Erwin, arrives and heals him. Suddenly, a Devolk comes behind her, but before it can harm her, Hubert Krutaus, a supporter operating from the rear, saves her with a special attack called Firehammer. Berkman's party is the #1 party when it comes to a well-balanced, coordinated team. They don't solely focus on offense and can be labeled as the most reliable party in Onpress. Unfortunately, Han-Bin has been lowered to the role of porter. While everyone is fighting, he is just spectating. He has been left out of the main fight since his level is low, but Berkman's party is generous enough to split the profits equally with him. When he is peacefully waiting for the main fight to conclude, Lord Devolk, level 25 monster, appears and spots him. However, he gets rid of Lord Devolk in an instant with a stone bullet. He gets a little upset when the system doesn't give him any experience because the monster's level is too low. He thinks of asking the party to let him hunt stronger monsters next time. He is informed that the party is finished hunting and it's time for gathering. After this, he watches Berkman and his party extracting organs from Devolk that can be sold for a hefty price. Erwin collects a magic stone worth 15x from one of the Devolk, and proudly shows it to her older brother. Han-Bin is fascinated by the sight of watching his party gathering magic stones. He thinks that he could have vomited for sure if he had seen this scene before getting transported to this world, but now that he has carved up so many hell dogs, it's nothing new for him. He organizes the extracted goods at lightning-fast speed, shocking Berkman's entire party. When asked how is he so good at organizing stuff, he explains that he has been doing this for 20 years, revealing himself as a 24-year-old. The strongest tank and others are shocked to learn that Han-Bin has been doing labor ever since he was a 4-year-old. Perplexed, they question him about his parents, and learn that he was kidnapped 20 years ago and doesn't remember what they look like. Berkman calls him a part of his family now. The party then consoles him, making him realize that these people are nice. He reveals that he is thankful to Berkman for allowing such a low-level hunter like him to join his party. The tank drops a bombshell by claiming that level doesn't actually matter. Even though he's been stuck at level 25 for the past 5 years, he is confused by his statement because Berkman already is a level 25 hunter. Erwin speaks about how there aren't any high-level monsters on the surface, and the dungeon is the place where one would find high-level monsters. Amber adds that they don't need to hunt stronger monsters, since they will never go to places like dungeons. Completely stunned, Han-Bin heads off to sword practice, while Erwin is left feeling miserable, haunted by the realization that everyone believed he was an otherworlder. Hubert goes after him because he is worried about sending him alone. Berkman approves of that idea, as one doesn't know when a monster could appear nearby. Hubert tries to look for him in the forest but doesn't find him. Meanwhile, he is wandering around desperately looking for monsters that could give him experience, as every monster he passes by is low level. He recalls being enlightened that there aren't many strong monsters in Say the Forest by the Wyvern. Now that he has explored the Say the Forest, he is convinced. To him, it makes sense that monsters with similar levels as Effer didn't give him enough experience. As he plans on leaving, he hears a strange howling sound, which doesn't sound like a regular monster. He rushes toward that direction, hoping if he gets to hunt the monster, then he has a chance of leveling up. After making a flamboyant entry, he prepares for the fight, but finds an unknown person with orange hair stripped naked in the forest. Han-Bin soon realizes that this person is Atis, the mage from Lauda's party. He wonders why is he naked in the Sada forest. He then marvels at the fact that he hasn't found the monster that was making those sounds yet, even though the sound came from this direction. He apologizes and then attempts to leave, but is stopped by Atis, who calls him suspicious because this isn't the place where level 5 like him should be.